SGA going to be joining us here in just a couple of moments here with Charles Barkley, Grant Hill, Candace Parker. I'm Jared Greenberg. It's now a best of three. First team to win the next two games is going to be a first-time champion. One of the things we talked a lot about, that double big lineup, but Chet Holmgren, after a great start in the first quarter in Game 3, really went absent, went missing the final three quarters. Tonight, he was really active on both ends of the basketball.
He was, and Candace talked about those offensive rebounds, which were critical there in that second half. But even with the double sprained ankles and the issues he was having with his feet, his ability on defense down the stretch and getting those stops was huge. And they're trying to get the mismatch here. He's guarding Tyrese Halliburton, switching. They're going at him. And just his activity there, I thought, movement well, forcing him into tough shots. Once again here on an island with Tyrese Halliburton, who's had moments just staying with him, his length contesting, doing a good job moving those feet, getting out to Turner there, and just his activity and energy here. This is winning basketball. This is when it matters. And I thought Holmgren defensively down the stretch was spectacular.
Yeah, down the stretch, the OKC defense was awesome. Ended the game on a 12-1 run. So,
well, you can say this, their defense was great, but you can say also some bad offense by the Pacers. I mean, they were so stagnant.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what plays they were running. Like we say, when they get in trouble, I think they say, hey, we getting the ball to Siakam. You look at all those plays down the stretch. Siakam's not at any of them.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, one thing you absolutely cannot criticize is Indiana's clutch offense throughout the playoffs, right? Why do you think it was so different tonight?
Well, it's so different when you're up and you're trying to guard a lead versus when you're down and you're trying to fight back. Indiana plays more like Indiana Pacers basketball when they're down in the fourth and they're able to run and try to get open looks in transition. When the game slows down, they don't want to play in the half court. Mm-hmm. And so the Pacers were never able to get OKC under control in that fourth quarter to be able to then go out in secondary. So you saw a lot of Pascal Siakam in the corner. Yeah, you saw a lot of turnovers by Tyrese Halliburton at the top. But here's the key going into the next game. It's really, you've tasted it. Like, the Pacers tasted what it could be to go up 3-1. Now, how are they going to respond is the question. Because now you're not talking about X's and O's. You're talking about trying to tell them that they can. And so I think the coaching staff for the Pacers have their work cut out for them to have them ready for Game 5 in the ability to beat OKC in a series. Because like Chuck said, this came down to this game. We think that that's who's going to win the series. But a lot of it is your mindset going into the next game.
Yeah, I think they're in trouble because when you have a team on the ropes, you got to finish them off. If you go up 3-1, you're in great shape. But now you go back. Oklahoma City, number one, got a better team. They got a better team. Now they're back to their original starting lineup, which will be better next game. Then they realize, like, man,
missed a lot of shots.
We got to play our bench more. We're back to the thing that got us to the NBA Finals. We're going to go back big. We can dominate them on the boards like we did, and they're going back to Oklahoma City. I think this series is a wrap. I thought tonight was a big deal for both teams.
You mentioned the Halliburton turnovers, Candace. He's a guy among the guys who had at least 400 assists in the NBA this year. It's a lot. He had the second fewest turnovers. Only Tyus Jones had fewer total turnovers this year. Against the Knicks in 6 games, Tyrese Halliburton only had 10 turnovers, 6 games total. He's had 17 turnovers against the Thunder so far in 4 games of this series. Let's go back inside to the podium. This man, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the reigning most valuable player in the NBA, joining us here after that incredible fourth quarter where Shai goes for 15 points, 8 of 8 from the free throw line. Let's start here. Congratulations on the win. Tie up the series at 2. But the beginning of the game, noticeable changes. Starting lineup changed, and your rotation minutes changed. How much of a conversation was those two things going into tonight? And how important was it to winning?
Yeah, we trust Coach with all those things. He's done such a good job of keeping us flexible all year with the lineup changes, the minute changes. So in moments like these when we need to adjust or he feels like we need to adjust, it's pretty seamless for us. And tonight was just an example of that.
Obviously, defensively down the stretch, you guys really rattled them. I mean, their offense, they've been so good in the game situations. The defense collectively, being able to shut them down, clamp down. What was the mindset? What were you guys doing? Was it just sort of sticking to your principles that you've done throughout the season? Is it, 4 games in now, you know them a little bit better? Just the thought process collectively, defensively down the stretch. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's all about, focus and intensity for us. Just sticking to our principle, I think you hit it on the nose. When we are locked in, when we're playing together defensively, when we're physical, when we're into the ball, really just to our identity is when we see the best version of ourselves. Tonight we didn't have it as much as we liked, and that's why the game was in their control for the most of it. But if we want to win this series, we got to control that end of the floor for sure and do a better job throughout the whole game.
SGA, you all were down 2-1 going to Denver.
Yeah.
with a must-win,
Absolutely.
basically Game 4. Same situation here. How much did you reflect on that situation? And what was the conversation like in the locker room? Because you guys always seem like no matter what, y'all stay calm, cool, and collected.
Yeah, we know we'd been here before. Now the stakes are a little bit different and the opponent's different, so you don't ever want to compare it too much. But every time you lose, especially the way we lost last game, there's things that you let slip. And our focus was to just try to be a better basketball team for the next game and take care of those things that slipped and weren't to our identity. And we didn't have it, like I said, for a full 48 tonight, but we got it in time and we were able to pull this one out.
Coach went back to the big, and y'all were able to dominate on the offensive glass because I thought the two most, obviously you closed, which is that's your job as the man. But I thought the two big things, Chet on the offensive board,
Absolutely.
But also I thought Caruso's energy level, it's contagious. I thought that was huge. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. He's been that our whole playoff run. He makes timely stops, timely steals, timely deflections, timely plays, big shots. He's just a gamer. He's the only one on our team with the championship ring, and it's no coincidence. He knows how to win big games and big moments. He arrives. I told him after the game, he started our run for sure. He deserves all the praise for that. He's a big-time performer, and we're seeing it in front of our eyes.
SGA, sometimes as a great scorer, you have an easy 35 points, Tonight, it felt like a hard, sort of physical 35, and particularly down the stretch, closing out there. You sat there in the fourth quarter, maybe 6 minutes left in the game. Just in those moments, take the people at home. When you got to come out, you got to be big for your team. What is your thought process? How are you approaching things, particularly in a big game, in a big moment like this?
Yeah, catch my breath. Come in, be aggressive above all, no matter what's going on. I think I had missed, honestly, 6 shots before I got hot late. But like Chuck just said, it's my job to close. It's my job to be aggressive. It's my job to make plays and trust my work down the stretch. And no matter what, I'm going to go out swinging. I'm never going to shy away from those moments. And it paid off tonight, my mentality.
SGA, J-Dub, he has not come up in this conversation yet. And I just think throughout this entire season, we have to give him his flowers. For the regular season he had on the defensive end, offensive end, he had the ball in his hands a little bit more today. Can you talk about that trust that you and him have established through the losing initially and then now playing for a championship?
Yeah, he's been the reason why we're this deep. He's been so impressive, just handling the ball, controlling the pressure, controlling the game, timely baskets. And then I don't even get started on the defensive end. He's his third year in the NBA. He's an all-NBA player, he's an all-defensive player, he's an all-star. Not a lot of guys do that. He's a talented guy, and the sky's the limit. He's 23, 24 years old and has a bunch of room to grow, but hell of a player.
Kind of looked like us. They made a conscious effort because they're guarding you the entire court, banging. I think last game they say put 7 different guys on you. Did y'all make a conscious effort to let J-Dub and Caruso bring the ball up more so you didn't have to do all that heavy lifting?
Absolutely. Above all, it's important to just trust my team, especially in the biggest moments. They're battle tested. They've been through so much with me, without me. And we built that muscle all year to be able to trust them in the biggest moments, and they came through tonight. But that was definitely a conscious effort for sure.
SGA, last one for you here. What's it like knowing you are now 2 wins away from a championship? It's a best-of-3 series, and potentially 2 of those games are going to be on your home court, arguably the loudest arena in the NBA.
Yeah, it's a lot better feeling than 3-1 going home. But with that being said, there's so much work to do. We're still so far from the finish line. It's a really good team on the other end, and 2 wins against them is really hard, and we got to focus on 1 win,
yes,
1 possession at a time, 1 quarter at a time.
That's it.
Stack it all up, and then when we get there, we'll get there. But we're still so far from the finish line.
Well, we know you're going to run through the tape of that finish line. These 3, unfortunately, this is their last hurrah here. They're done after this tonight. Chuck's going to do some extra homework. He's got 2.5 hours more broadcasting. So if you want to stick around with him, he's going to do extra homework.
Good.
Congrats on the win.
Appreciate you, Shai.
See you back for Game 5 in Oklahoma City. A 35-point performance by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And the Thunder have evened things up at 2 games apiece.